Hello friends! My name is Elena and today I will make sure that you are prepared to take on the TOPIK II exam. If you are starting to prepare for TOPIK II, you might already know what this exam is all about. The test of proficiency in Korean is a test that measures your knowledge about the Korean language. And while TOPIK I covers the beginner's levels, TOPIK II is for the intermediate and advanced students. Taking the first exam is a good start, but the second one is the one that will really help you if you want to study, work, or live in Korea. Also, many universities globally who offer Korean studies as a degree require their students to have TOPIK 3 or 4 to be able to graduate. So while TOPIK 1 is like an introduction to the exam, TOPIK 2 is where the rewards are most valuable. But of course, this also means that this exam is more difficult. No need to worry though, as today I will let you in on some tips and strategies on how you can pass TOPIK 2 with flying colors. Let's get started. First, some info and general tips. You'll face the sections listening and writing in the first part of the exam. A short break will follow and then comes the last part of the exam, the reading section. Before we get into each section, let me give you two general tips for the exam. Tip number 1, manage your expectations. Since this exam covers all levels from 3 to 6, there's a tangible spike in difficulty halfway through the exam. You might find that the first couple of questions in every section seem pretty easy, only for the difficulty to dramatically increase in the later questions. This is to be expected as both a level 3 student as well as a level 6 student have to be tested through this exam. For you, this only means if you aim for one of the lower levels, like 3 or 4, you should not be discouraged if you struggle with the later questions. Just be aware that they are not targeted at your level. Tip number 2, answer every question. Even if you find yourself not really knowing the answer to a question, pick an answer anyway. Since most of this exam is essentially multiple choice questions, you have a 25% chance of getting the right answer even though you have no idea what it is. And if you're able to rule out at least one or maybe even two options, your odds increase even more. So leave no question unanswered. Oh, and of course, reading all the questions and answers carefully should be a given, as we discussed in our TOPIK 1 guide. Now, let's take a look at the listening section. We'll go over this briefly, as most tips from the TOPIK 1 guide apply here too. You will notice though that the speaking speed has increased quite a lot and the vocabulary has become more sophisticated as well. Accordingly, I recommend listening to news broadcasts, scientific podcasts, and documentaries to train your listening skills. You will need a good understanding of topics such as culture, politics, and environmental issues, so be sure to consume audio material of a lot of different fields. While doing so, you should also practice taking short notes on the information you received, since that skill will be very helpful during the exam, especially because this time around you will only hear the audio clips one time. Right after the tape for the listening section ends, you will start with the writing section. Let's see what awaits us there. The writing section has the fewest questions, but since you'll be writing a whole essay, you still need to time yourself. You will begin with a couple of questions where you have to complete a sentence in a text. As you can see, you don't have multiple options to choose from this time. You have to come up with your own answer. So for these questions, it's actually helpful to read the whole text because you need to know what you're writing about. Also, pay special attention to the verb endings in each question. As you can see here, some texts are written in plain form and some are written in the formal, polite form. You have to make sure that your answer matches the form used in the text. If we look at the first text, it uses the polite form. So the last sentence, 선물을 준비했는데 선물이 수미 씨 마음에 들면 좋겠습니다. Next up is a short essay question. You'll be presented with a graph like this that displays some kind of change or development. You don't have to get creative with this question because all the information that you need will be displayed in the graph itself. Just make sure to study up on vocabulary with which you can describe decreases, increases, comparing different quantities to one another, and talking about development over a span of time. Words like population, quantity, profits are also a must-know because they are often used in graphs. So be sure to practice how to describe a graph, as well as cultivate a useful group of vocabulary for these types of questions. And last but not least is the freestyle essay. Here you will be giving an essay question and a blank sheet of paper to write out your thoughts. The structure of this question is an introduction to the topic you will be writing about, the keyword being right here, so 청소년기의 중요성, and you have 3 key points that you should touch upon in your essay. While doing so, it's really important to stick to the structure of intro, main part, and conclusion. To make sure your essay is coherent, take a few minutes to create an outline before you actually start writing. You can keep this fairly simple, but be sure to decide what points you want to touch upon in which part of the essay. Nothing is worse for an examiner than an essay that suddenly ends at the main part without a conclusion to tie everything together nicely. And I would also recommend wearing a wristwatch on the day of the test, so you can time yourself and don't suddenly run out of time before you can even finish up your essay. And the second thing that will lead you to a great score in the writing section is good orthography. That means getting your spelling, punctuation, and word breaks in order. First things first, you should write your essay in plain form or formal polite form and stick to the one that you chose. 있다 and 있습니다 would both be okay, but don't make the mistakes of using 있어요. Also, brush up on your DOCG skills because incorrect spacing will also cost you points. Also, as you can see here, we actually leave the very first space in an essay blank. So don't make the mistake of writing in the very first square. We leave this one blank and then start in the second. For punctuation, you can just follow the example here. You have the last word in a sentence, then the period gets its own little square, and the next word starts in the next square. As you can see, you will surely be able to get some extra points by studying up on the most common word break mistakes, the punctuation rules, and also the most common spelling mistakes in Korean. If you keep these tips in mind, you should be able to ace the writing section. You will get a short break after the writing section where you can eat some snacks or drink something, and then you will tackle the last part of the exam, the reading section. The questions are now more complex and there will be a lot of new vocabulary, but the overall structure is very similar to topic 1. So be sure to check out my tips in the topic 1 guide. I will share my most essential tip though, which is practice with the resources that FunPik has prepared for you. It doesn't matter if you prefer books or video lessons to study, or maybe even a mobile app to keep you flexible. FunPik offers all these options, and because their resources are specifically designed for the topic exam, they will guide you through the reading section perfectly. So I highly recommend using these tools for your self-study so you can optimize your exam preparation. Those were my tips to help you prepare for topic 2. No matter if you aim for level 3 or 6, I really hope these tips will be helpful for you. Feel free to leave your questions and comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Until then, 안녕!